I appreciate feedback, and I received some critical feedback and comments on several of my early videos about the poor camera work. So I retired my very old cheapo camera and invested in a state-of-the-art production studio. Well, maybe not state-of-the-art, but state-of-the-art on a budget, or at least an upgrade. So for our jewelry store, BOPIE'S Diamonds and Fine Jewelry, last year we upgraded the camera in the store, and we went for a top-of-the-line camera for the chores at the store. The never-ending job of photographing jewelry for inventory, photographing everything that comes into the store, everything we send out, photographing jewelry and sending photos to customers, as well as to update the jewelry photos shown on our website. But I don't cut gems at the store. That won't work because of the noise, chemicals, and too many distractions at the store, and the sometimes odd hours that I feel like cutting. So I need a separate camera system for me to prepare gem cutting tutorial videos. It just didn't make sense to go top of the line for camera and camera equipment for what I needed, since we'd already done that for the store. So I wanted a great camera at a budget price, and plus, every dollar that I don't spend on photography equipment is a dollar that I can spend on gem rough. And Tucson is coming up, and I never seem to have enough money in my pocket to buy all the rough I want at the Tucson show, or more accurately, the Tucson shows. The other reason I didn't want top-of-the-line camera with all the bells and whistles is that I'm not a professional photographer. I'm not even a hobbyist photographer. I don't know much about photography. I didn't join the photography club in high school. I'm just not that into photography, and I really don't want to learn to become a super photographer. For me, gem cutting is my interest, not photography. I don't know what most of the unique photograph terms on a camera are for. I don't care to be an expert on exposure modes, ASA, ISO, full aperture, TTL, blah, blah, blah. No offense to those who love to take photos as a hobby or professionally, and I do enjoy watching photography and especially macro photography videos on YouTube. They are cool. It's just that I personally don't have the time or the interest to know all the little details about photography. I do, however, realize that I need a fairly decent camera to be able to share with you my gem cutting experiences. Who wants to see blurry gems being cut, which unfortunately has been my specialty of late. So in this video, I will share with you my journey to upgrading my camera equipment. If you like the results of my modest upgrades and are looking to upgrade your camera equipment on a budget, or you have been toying with the idea of making your own YouTube videos, then you may be interested in this information. So first off, I made a plan. My plan was basically the following. First, not to spend a lot of money. Again, having the most expensive gem photo studio on planet Earth to show tips on gem cutting is not on my top 100 things to have list. For the store, yes. For a second camera for my gem cutting, no. Second, camera must be able to make decent videos for YouTube and without an assistant. When I'm cutting, it's usually just me. Third, the equipment must be simple to use. I mean, photography for dummies simple. That's my level and the highest level I aspire to achieve. Fourth, I need to be able to get the camera up and running in no time. I don't need a long laundry list of instructions to read just to get the thing to work, and I don't have time to go to some class on photography. Finally, I need plenty of help at my fingertips. So a camera with tons and tons of splainer videos already out there on YouTube and elsewhere is definitely a plus. I want to follow in the footsteps of others in this area, not to be out there trailblazing and exploring and experimenting to find the latest, greatest camera system for my needs. So given my plan, I started doing some research online. The camera that quickly came out to the front of the line and was being recommended in a lot of YouTube videos, even today, was and is the Canon Rebel EOS T3i, aka the Canon EOS 600D. Now note, this camera was released by Canon in 2011 and at that time had a manufacturer's retail price of $899 for the camera and lens. And the T3i is no longer produced by Canon. So, great camera, but the problem is that it's been replaced by many newer versions by Canon over the years. Solution? Obvious. Yes, I'm talking used. Gently used. Tenderly used. Only sold because the owner got a new Canon EOS Rebel T, whatever number they're up to, I, and the owner wants to find a new home for his or her beloved T3i. That's the kind of used that I'm talking about. The T3i can be found at all the usual secondhand sites for all sorts of prices. Again, the manufacturer's retail price back in 2011 for new was $899, camera with lens. From my research, I'd estimate that you will not have a lot of difficulty finding a good T3i for around $200. I found mine on eBay. There were just under 600 listings on eBay for the Canon T3i when I was searching. 600 T3is for sale on eBay. This further illustrates that the T3i was and is a very popular camera. Again, prices on this camera vary widely on eBay. You can bid on a working T3i for as low as $20, but I doubt the bidding will end up at that price. The first place I saw a make an offer on a camera listed for auction on eBay was listed for bidding at $120 range, but who knows how low of an offer they will accept. Prices continue to go up on eBay to around $1,300 from a seller in Japan. He or she offers free shipping, so maybe that's why they can justify that price. I don't know. And there's every price in between $1 and $1,300 on eBay. So it's hard to estimate the fair market value, but considering all the listings I read in detail, it seemed to me that the 200 plus range has a lot of T3is available and advertised as in something like great working condition, and there are a lot of buy now offers starting in around that price range. So my guesstimate is that the fair market value is in that neighborhood of $200-ish. However, I'm sure you could get a much better price if you had the time to bid over several bidding periods or watch eBay daily over some period of time for when someone is cleaning out their closet and they offer their old Canon at a super deal just to get rid of it. Or maybe you're good at making lowball offers until somebody says yes. Anyway, for a camera that originally cost $899, I don't think you're going to go wrong in the $200 range. Here are some tips on what to watch or watch out for based on my reading of many ads for the T3i as I did my research. Watch out for the ads that say camera body only, as these sellers are not selling the lens, which is expensive. You'll basically have to shell out another $100 or so just for the lens. Don't buy the body only unless you already have a lens laying around. Of course, watch out for sellers who list the camera for parts only, as that obviously means the camera does not work. But if you want a camera for $1 for parts, you can find them on eBay. Sorry, no lens. Skip the listings if there are any scratches on the lens or dings on the camera. Look for ones that are in perfect condition, no visible scratches or dings. Pay particular attention to the description of the lens. The Canon T3i came with an EF-S 18-55 IS Roman numeral 2 lens. I noticed that a few, not most, just a few sellers have swapped out the lens and list another lens with their T3i. I'm not exactly sure what all is special about the lens that came with the Canon, but just make sure it's an IS2, Roman numeral 2. It has something to do with stability of the shot. Again, photography jargon, but it does seem to matter. Why else would knowledgeable camera sellers be swapping out this lens? I haven't done the research, but I'm guessing that the Canon non-IS2 lens is cheaper than the Canon IS2 lens. In rare cases, I saw ads where sellers mention basically in the fine print that their camera comes with everything shown in the photos. And then when you look at the photos, unless you're really paying attention, they don't show a lens. It just seems to me to be another trick, so just watch out. Some listings have multiple photos of the camera and accessories. For some reason, they didn't photograph the front of the lens, where you should see the IS2. And they don't mention the lens being an IS2 in the description. They'll have a photo of the front of the camera, but the lens cap is on, covering up where you would see IS2. So in those cases, there's no way to know if the seller's being slick or just doesn't know better. So if you're interested in such a listing, you can simply ask the seller if the lens is an IS2 or not. Some sellers have extras with their camera. Some even have an extra lens included. Good for you if you find a deal like that. Tripod, extra lenses, great. But that wasn't part of my original plan, so I didn't focus on looking for extras. My recommendation is to make sure the ad is for a T3i. There are a lot of other versions out there, like the T3. The T3 is not the T3i. Make sure it has the IS2 lens, includes the battery charger, cables to connect to your computer, and a memory card. Mine also included the original box, the camera strap, user manual, which I've never opened, and a camera bag. They're definitely a plus, but I don't really care about those last items. I personally do look at the reviews given to the sellers by other buyers, but in this case, I would give a plus to sellers who are not camera dealers. I really wanted someone who was selling their own personal T3i. Remember where I mentioned that some listed cameras don't have the IS2 lens? The few cases I saw of this were from eBay sellers who specialize in cameras. No, it was not all camera dealers, but where the lens was switched, it was always a camera dealer. And finally, because I'm such a non-expert on cameras, I bought the 1-year square trade warranty offered by eBay for an extra $24.99, just in case the camera suddenly falls apart. But so far the camera has been an absolute dream to work with. So that was $25 for peace of mind. I think it's great that eBay offers that on some cameras. Other minor issues I noticed in some ads included not having the battery chargers. What are they thinking? No lens cap? Yeah, not a big deal. No memory card? Again, not a big deal, as you can get these items for a few dollars. But seriously, no battery charger? With the camera purchase out of the way, I next bought the little extras that are needed to make sure I don't have to shut down in the middle of cutting a gem to recharge a battery or download a full memory card. So I then went to Amazon and bought an extra battery pack and a much improved memory card for just a few dollars. I picked up the Lexar Professional 633X, which is a 64 gigabyte SDXC UHS-I card for $10 and an extra battery for $9. Like cameras, I'm not an expert on memory cards, but I do know this one is light years ahead of what was available when the T3i first came out a decade ago. It holds more memory and downloads to my computer much quicker. There are a lot more expensive cards out there, but I'm way ahead of what was available when the T3i first came out, so I'm happy. Just FYI, for a battery, I picked the Wasabi power battery for a Canon, but I didn't put a lot of research into this buy, other than to make sure it was for the T3i. So please don't critique me too harshly in the comments. Sorry, there's no links to YouTube videos on camera batteries. For a $9 purchase, I just didn't want to do the research. Then I thought I needed a mic, another area I know zip about. I picked up the Takstar SGC 598 for $22 on Amazon. It's hundreds of dollars less than the top of the line microphones out there. There are videos that say this microphone is equal or better than the top of line microphones. Anyway, I found that I don't really need a microphone as I'm right next to the camera when I am shooting or cutting gems. But If and when I do a rare podcast-like shot or video where the camera is facing me and I'm explaining something about gems, I will use this microphone. The windsock that comes with it, however, well, I can't see me shooting anything outside in the wind, but it was included, so it's nice to have. Here's the video on the microphone. It's called $25 versus $299. Takstar beats Rode Video Mic Pro Plus.
Feet, and we're going to run the same exact test. Right now you guys are hearing just what the built-in internal microphones on the Sony a6500 sounds like, and then you'll be able to hear what the shotguns sound like. This is the audio quality comparison between the $25 shotgun mic and the $300 shotgun mic. This is the audio quality comparison between the $25 shotgun mic and the $300 shotgun mic.
Then, after watching a few videos on macro photography, I opted for the Polaroid Optics 58mm 4-piece filter set for close-up macro photography. And that set me back another $16.99. I did learn that the size in millimeters for a filter kit is printed on the back side of your lens cap. For this camera, it's 58mm. It's also printed on the front of your lens. Who knew? Here's a pretty good video on macro lenses on a budget. It's called Macro Lenses on a Budget, Macro Lens on a Budget, 3 options under $20. The 4-filter kit wasn't the #1 recommendation on the video, but for ease of setting up the shop and simplicity, I think it will do fine for me. Also, the kit I found was by Polaroid, which seems to be a good brand, and this kit had some options that the kit in the video didn't have. It has a dual thread design with double-sided thread, so you can stack your lenses on each other for a super macro effect, or you could add polarizing lens on top. I know, way too much camera lingo trivia here. Anyway, for $17, I believe I now have all the macro I need. Finally, to tie things all together, there is a particularly helpful video on YouTube. It's actually in 3 parts about what settings to set the T3i to. I just needed part 3 of the video. I set my settings based on the video, and I was up and running in no time. And again, I have not even opened the owner's manual. The video is called What Each Function of the Canon T3i or 600D does and how to use them. Part 3 video settings. Again, it's a 3-part video, and I watched the whole thing and saved the links for later, but part 3 is for video settings. There you have the story of my big photography studio remodeling and upgrade project for the year, all on a shoestring budget. Hopefully the quality of my gem cutting videos will improve now. I upgraded to a time-tested and proven camera, the T3i. It's worked for many YouTube video creators for a decade now. It's simple to use and has a ton of explainer videos out there on what knobs to turn, what buttons to push, what settings to use to make your videos. Finally, I got all the extras I needed, all on a budget, which saves money for more gemstone rough. So if you're interested in upgrading your camera or equipment, or you've been toying with the idea of making a YouTube video on cutting gems, and please do, but you're not sure about what camera equipment will work, then I hope my journey will save you a few steps and give you a few pointers. I hope that at least I can save you some time and effort in doing your own research by having the links that I've listed. Finally, regarding comments to the video, I do realize there are many camera stores out there which are chock full of every conceivable make, model, size, shape, color, price point, etc. of nothing but cameras, cameras, and cameras. So realistically, the odds of anyone 100% agreeing with my selections on the camera and equipment I bought is, well, probably around 0.0%. So as always, you're welcome and encouraged to comment on this video and give your recommendations and experiences on cameras and cameras equipment. But remember, I'm not a cameratologist, so please do not be offended if I don't have anything to say in reply to your comment on cameras, especially if you start talking camera jargon. Hopefully, some other camera expert will reply to your comment. I hope you found this video useful and informative. Okay, back to the fun stuff. Cutting gemstones, and to borrow a quote from the Victoria Fasteners Group down under in Australia, may your facets always meet. Happy faceting, everyone.